This week, we're talking about project meeting interruptions. We asked some of our friends, our customers, to come help us role play a little bit so you can see some of the common objections that can come up in a project meeting. And you've got some tools in your arsenal to counteract those, especially if you're using ResultMaps. The number one problem with every meeting is there's no agenda. Most meetings go off track. Somebody starts yickety-yakking about this or that. What we really want is a meeting to run smoothly and help us get stuff done faster. And the only way you can do that is if you have an agenda. When you go to do a meeting agenda and walk people through and set context, frequently you're going to have people who are in a hurry. You're going to have people who want to just get back to work. Why are you bugging me? Why do we even have to do this? And you have to deal with it. So we'll look at how that gets done. Hey guys, we use a meeting format because meetings waste time. We're just going to stay focused on a few key things. You guys can see that here on the agenda. We're going to go through some very specific elements here. We're going to take a look at our scorecard that we've set up, thanks to you guys answering our questions about the business and your goals. We're going to go through your goals overall and how we're tracking on them. And we're going to just summarize some major headlines. After that, we'll look at what we got done since last period. And we'll spend most of the meeting talking through the different issues and challenges that came up so we can get to decisions. And that will give us our to-dos for next week.
Why are we wasting time discussing process like this and not just going into topics? Why aren't we diving right into the important details?
That's a great question. I'm glad you asked that.
Could we please go around the room and just find out what everyone's working on, just so we have a little bit of context?
Perfect. Thank you, Claire.
Another great question. So guys, the reason we're going to do it in this format is you'll see, if you'll go through this with me and at least give it 3, maybe 4 meetings, you're going to see this process keeps us laser focused because we're always going to be focused on the results and the numbers that we're trying to hit. And we're going to be focused on the goals we're trying to reach. And that's going to frame things up. And the great thing about it is it's only going to take about 15 minutes for us to get through that. So if I could get your patience and your grace on this and just bear with me, I think you'll see that this is a really great format. You'll also hear people really obsess about the meeting note takers. And while those are helpful, they are only going to record what happens in the meeting. So if you have a bad meeting, a note taker is not going to give you much. It still comes down to you running a good meeting. So you want to keep everybody focused on staying present, really paying attention, so you can make decisions about important things that are going to help your project.
Scott, can you send me the meeting notes after?
We're actually going to be capturing all of our decisions here, and you're going to be going through the process with us to make sure that at the end of this meeting, we don't just agree on a few to-dos. We know the exact sequence and importance, and we're all in agreement on what those are. Cool?
Got it. Yeah, perfect.
Right on. So another problem you'll see is as you get everybody into this agenda, people won't necessarily respect it. They'll just want to do a quick round robin to discuss everything that's been worked on or what the tasks are. And the problem with that approach is it will lock you into trying to deliver the plan, which requires your plan to be perfect. Even if you have a perfect plan, going around the room, it just wastes time. It's literally 5 high-value minutes for everybody to look at the agenda ahead of time, provide their update in the document so people have it coming into the meeting, so that you're actually focusing the meeting again on making decisions and solving real problems. Otherwise, it's a shiitake show and you're just reiterating whatever's in your task management software. That's not an effective project management practice. So we'll show you some ways you can handle that when it comes up.
Can we just get an update of tasks? Maybe go around and talk about the 9 things we did last week.
I ended up closing some deals yesterday. I haven't updated the numbers. Can we go in and update those now?
So Max, there's a great tool we have before these meetings. If you'll just go in and hit it, it will walk you through doing those updates before. So for today, for the sake of time, we're just going to keep going through. And if we have enough time at the end of our issue section, we will go ahead and add it. But you can, in the future, you can just click update my items here and ResultMaps will walk you through all those updates so we have them ahead of time. Cool.
Got it.
Right on.
Got it. Yeah.
All right. So there was another question, like, can't we just update our tasks? We'll get there. Just want to make sure we're staying dialed in on what we're trying to achieve. We've been working on making sure we're getting more initial sales meetings, making sure that we're using those to increase our services clients, increase our pipeline so we can get those services clients. Those are the things we need to dial in on. The reason we're doing this is because we have a goal of getting to 50 million in AR this year, and we've got to close 2 new A-level deals. Another thing that can happen once you focus the meeting on your numbers and your targets is that people can start to get very nervous about them, and they'll right away jump in and say those things are wrong. The great thing about a well-run meeting using this agenda we're recommending is you have a place for people to talk specifically about that gives them a safe space to do it, but it also creates some firewalls to keep that discussion from taking over every other aspect of the meeting. Here's an idea for how to handle that.
We're not going to be able to hit those numbers unless we get some more resources. In order to hit the numbers we've requested in the budget a few times.
I mean, but Marnie, I mean, we talked about this yesterday, right? I mean, it's chicken or the egg. We got to close more deals to get the resources.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, I get that, but we can't. How do we resolve that chicken and egg?
Well, I think there's something off with our CRM. Like people aren't updating life cycle stage and lead status appropriately. And so it's really messing up with our analysis that we can give, because
hey team, if I'm sorry, team, I just for the sake of time, these are all great points. I love that you guys are bringing them up. I love the engagement. This is exactly what we need to talk about when we get to the issues. So if you guys could give me just like 5 more minutes, we'll get through this and we'll dive into those issues. Cool? Sometimes one of your project stakeholders or team members is dealing with a really thorny issue and they're really stressed about it and they feel like this is their only time to talk about it. How do you handle that situation? Because that situation may or may not need the attention of everybody in the meeting. Whether it does or not, it's important to raise the question so you're handling it intentionally and not just reacting to, again, somebody's emotionalism in the meeting. So let's take a look at how that might play out. So at this point in the meeting, we switch over to what we call our getting stuff done view, where we can see all the to-dos we have, everything that's gotten done, and a list of issues and challenges here. The great thing about this is if we have a bunch of open to-dos, everybody can see it. So it's easy for me to say, man, Evan, you didn't get this done. I'm going to go ahead and move that to issues so we can talk through it.
I think you're missing one of the issues though. Back to that issue with the team not updating life cycle stage. I think it's really important that we do talk about that more, because it's really messing up any kind of analytics I can provide to the team on why we're not converting. I do think it's important that we carve out at least 20 minutes to talk about it, because I think it's pretty critical.
So Dana, I've logged that now. The question I have for you, is that something that you feel like needs to be talked about right now with this entire group? Or is that something that it's a smaller group of people and we can just take it to schedule that meeting and get a decision on it? Sometimes you've got the militant agenda people and they want to know what's the objective, what are our outcomes, do we have the objective, do we have the outcomes? And the great thing here is we actually give you a way to continually come back to that. Even if they were checked out and using Teams or Slack or reading the sports column or something when you were going over it, you've always got it in place. Or if you always have it in place, like if you're using ResultMaps, you've got to come back to that.
Scott,
Mm-hmm.
What is the objective of this meeting?
So team, we're here to make sure that this project gets delivered on time, no matter what. Even if we go back into COVID or whatever disruption, we're going to deliver the sucker on time. So we need to make sure that this project and all the initiatives we have as part of it are moving forward and we're making decisions and keeping everything on track. So that's why we're always going to have this time. Even if we don't use all of it, we're going to make sure that we focus in on what we're trying to get done and spend most of our time teeing up and solving these issues. So sometimes people will have legitimate challenges that they just interject. And here, the important thing is get it into the right place where everyone can see it, everyone can understand how you're going to act on it. So we use the issues column for that. Let's take a look at how that can work.
Understand why proofreading and scheduling next week's email newsletter is an issue.
Well, it's an issue because we didn't get it done. Even though we had the commitment to do it, we need to make sure that we talk about it so we can understand why it's held up and see if there's
isn't
anything
that
else we
something
need to
that could
do.
easily be handled via an email between the two people that were involved instead of taking it to an entire meeting? I mean, I think
We
it's a
don't
little bit of a waste of
totally,
time.
totally fair. We don't need to go deep into it, but we do need to surface that this is a blocker. And unless this gets done, there's other milestones that are going to be affected by it. So if you want to take it to do to make sure that that gets resolved, I'm going to go ahead and log that to do now so we have it.
Okay. Thank you.
Hey guys, as we're going to production, we just really wanted to add more and more value to this because this is such a serious problem. Customer retention, profits, churn, trust. There's so many things that get impacted by how you run these meetings. So I just want to make note rather than extend the video more. We've got a whole checklist you can take into your meetings to give people to prep them so that they're able to show up as their best selves and not as meeting saboteurs. If you want to see more role playing or it'd be helpful to see another version of this, just drop us a comment below. And as always, make sure you like and subscribe. Now back to your regularly scripted outro. So there you go. There are a few ways to keep your project meetings on track. And it all starts from having a really crisp, clear agenda. If you want help creating that agenda, we've got software that can help you along with all kinds of great trainings right here to help you execute more effectively, build more value in your business, and get things done with less hassle. That's it for this episode. We'll see you next time.